This video is going to give you an overview of working with Claude Code and controlling Blender and Unity through an MCP or Model Context Protocol server.
Hello, I'm Professor Morgan. What topic would you like to explore today in the realm of fire science? Whether it's wildland fire behavior, fire weather, fuels, or topography, I'm here to help you understand the concepts. What would you like to learn about today?
I'm developing an avatar system for VR in Unity, and I'm using Blender to quickly construct new avatars for me or change the avatar. I'm not a Blender expert, so having something like Claude that can quickly automate a relatively straightforward process in Blender really saves me a bunch of time. The whole thing started off with a simple prompt of, build me an avatar that looks like a 30-year-old African-American woman wearing a nice dress and long black hair. Claude already has the skill defined in order to know the steps that it's going to take to build me one of those. So it starts with a description of the project, which I'm working with Claude Code on. Then Claude Code uses MCP servers, connecting it to Blender and Unity one at a time in order to accomplish this task. In this video, I'm also testing out a skill that I'm building with Claude Code in order to automate this process. Here we can see the breakdown of capabilities between the Blender MCP and the Unity MCP. Clearly, these things cannot do everything. They can't do everything in Blender. They can't do everything in Unity. They can do a lot of stuff, and a lot of the stuff that they can do are the tedious things that you don't know how to do or take a lot of your time or you just don't feel like doing. Clearly, it takes a lot of work for Claude. That's a lot of thinking it's having to do. But compared to the mental effort it would take for me to go through this process, it's worth it to have Claude just do it. Claude goes through it systemically, methodically, efficiently. And it's following a process that we've developed over several iterations. We've built some real monstrosities with this thing, but we've got the process down pretty quickly so that every time we go through and Claude encounters some sort of error or we find some sort of gap in the process, we discover how to work around that gap or fill that gap or just work through that gap. That knowledge now becomes part of the skill that Claude uses every other time it's going to do this again. When Claude is working through a Model Context Protocol server to control something like Blender or Unity, it can take screenshots of the control of the program that it's operating with. It uses those screenshots to validate its work. Now it's got the model exported, it's importing into Unity. Once it's imported into Unity, I still have to assign the materials. The materials are in the model. They came over from Blender as well as all the textures. However, I haven't automated the workflow yet through the Unity MCP to assign the proper textures to the materials on the model. The trick to developing these skills is to find a process that actually saves you work, that works with the skills that you already have, complements the skills that you have, and makes up for the skills that you don't have. Then iterate through that until you get it working. Make sure that Claude understands all of the different nuances and requirements, and then condense that down into a skill that you can reuse over and over and over, perhaps even automate inside of a larger workflow. One of the important things to remember is that initially you should treat Claude like an assistant. Eventually you want it to be like a coworker, but when it's first learning your process and first discovering what your capabilities are and what you can do with it, treat it like an assistant. Give it everything that it needs to work with. Evaluate its work repeatedly and frequently correct it when it's wrong. It will remember those lessons and improve as you use it. Now all I'm doing is the final step that I have to do. Take the new avatar, wire it into my existing avatar system, wire up the lib-sync controller and the animator controller so that it just works in with the regular AI professor system that I have.
Hello, I'm Professor Morgan. What topic would you like to explore today in the fascinating world of fire science?